Mike Schur, we normally bring you on to talk about baseball things, but today we must begin with one of the major pieces of news of the day, and that, of course, is the retirement of Blake Bortles. How devastating is that to you?
You're breaking the news to me. I hadn't heard.
Yeah, Blake Bortles is retiring from professional football.
Huh. A legend. A straight-up legend. You know, we made Jason Mendoza on The Good Place a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, and Joe Mandy, who was a writer for the show, decided that at a key moment when throwing a Molotov cocktail at a speedboat, which is like the dirtbaggiest thing you can possibly do, that Jason Mendoza would yell Bortles the way that some people yell Kobe when they take shots or whatever. He just threw that in. And so then we just had Jason Mendoza say Bortles all the time. It became like a running joke. A large number of people on Twitter would say, if the Jaguars were playing a primetime game, a large number of people on Twitter, if you searched for Blake Bortles, would say, today I learned that Blake Bortles is a real person and not a made-up character from The Good Place. So eventually the Jacksonville Jaguars PR people reached out to us, and they were like, hey, we're so happy that you are mentioning the team and Blake all the time. And privately, we were like, you are? Like, it's not in a positive context, you know? But they were really happy, and they were really cool. They arranged for Manny Jacinto, who played Jason, to go to a Jacksonville playoff game, the game where they won at home, like 10-3. I think they beat the Steelers. He was at that game. They brought him, rolled out the red carpet. They sent us an enormous box. We got an enormous box one day sent to the office that was full of Blake Bortles signed footballs and jerseys. Like, I have 7 signed Blake Bortles footballs in my office.
How are we informing you of this? How are we breaking
It's 7 o'clock in the morning in Los Angeles.
I woke up at 6:15 to add some cereal and turned on Zoom so I could join your little show there.
Oh, I haven't checked the news. Again with our little show, this guy.
While we're eulogizing Blake Bortles, I would quickly like to point out him and Tim Tebow, the bane of Steelers fans' existence in the 21st century, beating the Steelers twice in 2018 when the Steelers had healthy Le'Veon Bell, Antonio Brown, Ben Roethlisberger, in the regular season and in the playoffs, throwing for 214 yards and a 45-42 win, when it was probably the Steelers' best chance to win a Super Bowl before Roethlisberger was
Not that you're holding on to the details.
Right. I mean, you won 2.
Bortles,
Get over it.
will always hold a special place
Mike,
in my cold, black, dusty heart.
Mike, I have to be honest. I'm stunned that the Jacksonville Jaguars got on board. The whole Jason Mendoza is a character who's in hell and is talking about all of the things that are bad with Jacksonville. And
correct.
Using Blake Bortles' name to throw a Molotov cocktail at a boat, and they're like, that's our brand.
They didn't get the
Here's
joke.
some free shit.
They did not get the joke. They didn't understand that it was an insult. They were just thrilled that anyone was mentioning Jacksonville things on national television.
I think they did get the joke, but I think that they were just happy that the team was relevant in a pop culture way. The funniest joke, in my opinion, that we ever told about the Jaguars, and we told too many of them, is there was a moment where at one point Ted Danson's character said in a roast format that the Jacksonville Jaguars sucked, and Jason's response was, no, we don't. All we need is an offense and a defense and some rule changes.
Whittingham, we just got done talking to Chelsea Handler, and I think she might have sort of accidentally let some stuff slip and some clues there with, it seems, you and Jeremy Taché were doing some sleuthing, and you discovered, because she said Chelsea Later as a show?
Yeah, so she was talking about how she is interested in getting back into late night and reference her old E! show, Chelsea Later, but her old E! show is called Chelsea Lately. And so Jeremy and I were sort of theorizing there's 3 things that could happen there. 1, she can get her own show on a platform. 2 would be to be up for The Daily Show. And 3 would be to be up for James Corden's empty slot on CBS and eventually take over after Stephen Colbert and have it be Chelsea Later. But I feel like that last one would kind of be the most interesting to me because it'd be a network late night show, and she would have a chance to potentially host it.
Or she misspoke.
Well,
yeah,
there's
there is that.
Could
There
be
is that
that,
possibility. Mike, where
That's not fun though. Roy.
where do you, because you're someone who loves television, what the way that late night television has changed, the way that late night television has historically been so homogenized in a way that's kind of crazy. What do you make of the changes presently going on in the sphere where Trevor Noah says 7 years is about enough. I'm going out into the stand-up circuit, and Kimmel and Fallon and all of those guys, and it's almost always guys, exist viral clips in the morning more than late night television.
Yeah, it's night and day from when I was involved, which is 100 years ago at SNL. I think the thing that Trevor Noah just did is the single biggest change, which is it used to be that when you got one of those jobs, that was your job forever. You held on to that job as long as you possibly could. That was Carson did it for 30 years or 29 years, and Letterman did it forever, and then he moved to CBS and did it for another forever. Conan did it forever and then went to The Tonight Show and would have done that forever, except for the fact that they pulled the rug out from under him. It wasn't a job that you left, really. And now what you're seeing is, Stewart left after I can't remember how many years, a long time. But he left at a time when he was still incredibly popular and could have kept going for another decade, was replaced by Trevor Noah. And then after 7 years, and this is a generational thing, I think Trevor Noah was like, all right, I'm good. Like, I got out of this. This was fun. This was an experience. 7 years is a long time. I'm going to do something else. That wasn't the mentality of late night hosts until very recently. So those jobs used to come up once every 15 years or something. And now it seems like maybe they're going to come up 3 or 4 times a decade. And part of the reason is because they're not as coveted. It's not as huge a deal to be on at 11:30 or 12:30. So I think what you'll see is a lot more change in general in the next 15, 20 years than there has been in the previous 20. And they'll try a bunch of different stuff. I'm sure that a woman will get her shot finally. It's never happened. One of the storylines in the pilot of the show Hacks is that she was going to be, the Gene Smart's character was going to be the first woman who ever got a late night talk show on a network, and that was in like the 70s, and it still hasn't happened in real life, and it's 2022. Like, I guess you can count Samantha Bee, but that wasn't technically a network. So I think you'll see women get shots finally. You'll probably see more people of color get shots, and who knows how long they'll stick or decide to stick or whatever. I think there will be a tremendous amount of turnover in the next 10 or 20 years of this in this industry.
Would you include Joan Rivers in that? She had her own show on Fox before it was canceled because
for a brief, yeah. I guess that the Joan Rivers thing was the inspiration, I think, for the Hacks storyline, because she was supposed to take over for Carson in theory, or he was thinking about turning it over to her, and then she got the offer from Fox and left and did it, and it lasted for like 6 weeks or something. I don't think it lasted much longer than that. And then that was sort of the end of the story. And then he never forgave her. He was a pretty vindictive dude, apparently. And he was just like, never talk to her again for the rest of her life because she had done that. And then it's, I guess that's true. Technically, that was a network, then primetime or nighttime talk show. So yes, got me, Roy. That's on a technicality.
That's
I
right.
wasn't trying to get
got
you. I'm just all that
He
matters.
got you. It's all that
Yes.
matters.
Crushing
Roy,
all of our
Roy
feces
jumped
this
up
segment.
and jumped on your
love
neck.
it.
Before we get
You know what? Or I misspoke.
Yes.
How about that?
Right,
There it
you go.
is.
Yeah. Okay. There you go.